We are here with Open Forum at the heart of Washington, D.C. in the U.S. Congress building, the Cannon building, and today we will be interviewing Dr. Naseem Rahmatullah, who is the Senior Vice President of the Ahmadiyya Muslim Community USA, and learning about why they're visiting the halls of Congress and visiting elected officials around the True Islam campaign. With that, joining me now is Dr. Naseem Rahmatullah, the Senior Vice President of the Ahmadiyya Muslim Community. Welcome to the show.
Yes, thank you.
Why is the Ahmadiyya Muslim community leading this campaign, and why are you in the halls of Congress to launch it?
Well, we are here in the halls of Congress to educate and make the leaders aware of what True Islam is all about. And making them aware, they can carry our message forward. That way the American public can get educated and become aware of the true teachings of Islam. And they can therefore not fear Islam, because ignorance leads to fear. And if that is removed and they are educated, then the chances of getting the youth radicalized in this country are also reduced. And the other Muslims who have not a clear idea or concept of their belief, this also helps to educate them as well. And therefore this, in conjunction with the others, will help reduce the chances of radicalizing the youth in this country. And
so help me understand this. So how do you know that Muslims in America, you did a survey to assess how well they understand these 11 points?
Yes, prior to launching this campaign, we did a survey. And this was an independent survey done by a reputable organization. And that told us that almost 50% of Muslims do not understand or have not a clear understanding of the true beliefs or teachings of Islam.
So, okay, that's for the Muslims. Why in Congress? Why are we in the U.S. Congress? How does this help America?
Well, you have to come to the leadership. And because these are our political leaders and they have more access to their congressional people or their district or the people in their district, and they can then educate them. If we win their hearts and they believe that what we are saying, they can carry a message forward.
Most people come here to lobby these individuals. Are you here as a lobbyist?
We are not here as lobbyists. We are here to educate them and make them aware of what True Islam is.
We initiated a new campaign called True Islam, an effort to precisely, loudly, and unambiguously define the core principles of Islam that stand in perfect harmony with American values. It is a campaign to discredit and marginalize ISIS, to demonstrate that the ideology of Islam is inconsistent and opposed to ISIS. ISIS, in perverting Islam, inflicts the greatest damage on Muslims more than any other group. It is a campaign that distills Islam's inner beauties to their essential core, to quote the Quran and the traditions of the Prophet Muhammad in a manner that fully exposes the depravity of violent extremists. Make no mistake about it, over 3 million American Muslims in this country have uniformly condemned ISIS. But while condemnation is important, our community believes much more can be done to marginalize the root ideology and message of extremists.
The Ahmadiyya Muslim community has this incredible ability. You guys are the largest Muslim community in America, is that true?
We are the largest organized Muslim community in USA under one leadership.
And you have access to lots of congressional individuals. What do you wish for them to say in regards to this campaign to the Ahmadiyya Muslim community?
Well, our primary purpose is to have them support the campaign. And by supporting the campaign and carrying our message forward, they can do it in two ways. If they support the campaign, that can be further propagated to the people, and they realize that our leadership is also supporting the campaign, and they'll take a better look at the campaign and hopefully support the campaign and endorse the campaign.
And then those are now Democrats, so this is not bipartisan, this is really focused on Democrats?
It is bipartisan. There will be Republican congressmen too today, and Representative Ted Poe from Texas is going to be here, and Congressman Stryber is going to be here from Ohio. they are Republicans.
I appreciate your steadfastness, your conviction, and the way you are embracing love and hope and tolerance and helping combat the extremist vision out there of hate that the terrorists are pushing and that ISIS is pushing.
The rhetoric, due to this being election year, has been pretty extreme against Muslims. You take Donald Trump, you take Ben Carson, you take Ted Cruz. I mean, those are one of those at least actually works in these halls. Where's the disconnect? Why don't they understand what Islam really means?
Some of it is political because they want to get votes and they're going to say anything to get votes. But most of it is because these people are not aware of the true teachings of Islam. They are just propagating what they've heard about Islam. None of them have read the Holy Quran. None of them have read the teachings of the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So that is what it is, really ignorance on their part.
And did you wish to educate those elected officials as well that are running for the presidency?
That's correct. And in fact, we sent a Holy Quran to Donald Trump and to the others.
That's great. So it's beyond just rhetoric. You're actually educating all elected officials around this as well. So why is the Ahmadiyya Muslim community taking this on? I mean, it seems like you guys are the largest organized community. Why are you doing this? Where is this leadership coming from? Where is this message coming from?
Well, the problem with Muslims today is lack of leadership. The Ahmadiyya Muslim community is fortunate to have leadership, and we have His Holiness Mirza Masroor Ahmad, who resides in UK. He's divinely elected leader of our community, and he guides us and he tells us what to do and what not to do. So under his leadership, we are united as one body, and we follow his directions and convey the message that is any message that we have to convey to the people in a united and an organized manner so that people can get maximum benefit.
Is he guiding this campaign as well?
He's guiding this campaign as well, yes.
And so one of the 11 points is around leadership, and there's a lack of leadership. And I also read in your materials that you're saying there's inconsistent Muslim leadership. That seems like that's pretty aggressive.
That is the problem that Muslims have. You know, they do not have a leadership. There is no. That is why we are the largest organized Muslim community under one leadership. No one can claim that except the Ahmadiyya Muslim community.
So that you're addressing that directly. Now what is the purpose of all this? The Messiah, leadership. Why are we doing all this work towards peace? I mean, one of the questions I believe you've asked is around establishing equality and justice in the world. Will this lead to this? How does this all come together beyond this one campaign?
The purpose of coming of the Messiah, Mirza Ghulam Ahmad of Qadian, was, as he stated, to bring man back to God. And he stated that the love and fear of God is the sum of all wisdom. So if mankind were to realize that God is up there watching them, and they do everything thinking that God is watching them, they will not drift away from the wrong path. And this is, in essence, is what we are trying to do under the divine leadership of His Holiness Mirza Masroor Ahmad.
The President of the United States was urging people and Muslims alike to take on the issue of educating the country about what true Islam is all about. But in order to do that, people have to speak up and teach. In the old days, we used to say, each one teach one, each one reach one. And that's what we have to do, and I think that True Islam campaign is doing that. To teach people that the movement of the extremists who promote intolerance and violence is perverting the real teachings of Islam. And I think that we have to teach people that. For Congress, it's important because if we have the wrong notion, then we will be designing solutions and laws and resolutions that are off-center and perhaps even unconstitutional. And so as a person of third-generation Japanese American, I know when government can go offline. And so my job is to also use my own history of this country to keep our course steady and keep our eye on the Constitution and also keep our eye on what the true teachings of True Islam campaign is all about.
We now have Nasser Bukhari, who is the General Secretary of the Ahmadiyya Muslim Community Public Affairs Department. Welcome to the show.
Well, thank you.
So why are you here? Why is the Public Affairs Department here in the U.S. Halls of Congress?
Well, we are here for an event that we have internally. It's called Day on the Hill.
Day on the Hill.
Day on the Hill.
Okay.
So what we do is we have approximately 70 chapters across the United States, and every chapter has a public affairs secretary. So every chapter, every year, we have one day that we come to the Capitol Hill, and we have an organized effort, and we set up meetings ahead of time with the congressional people, and we have contacts here.
So how many congressional leaders are there? There's the Congress and there's a Senate. Right. How many congresspersons are there?
So approximately, I'd say about
over 400.
Over 400.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Okay. And then there's about 100 senators on the other side. So that's a lot of people to meet.
Is, yeah.
And so there's multiple congresspersons in each state,
right.
But there's only 2 senators?
2 senators per state. Yes.
Okay. Okay. I get it now. So now your 70 individuals are doing what?
Yeah. The 70 individuals, what they're doing is wherever they're located.
Okay.
Their congressmen.
I'm from Detroit. What do I do?
So if you're from Detroit, for example, what you'd do is you would call into the congressman's office and say, whichever initiative we are taking up in that particular year, we're going to say, we're going to set up a meeting with you. We're going to be in Capitol Hill, and we'd like to come by, and we'd like to share some information with you.
And they take the meeting?
Many of them do, yes.
Really?
Yes.
Do you actually meet with the elected officials?
With the
congresspersons as well?
Cases,
really?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Many times it is the staffers that we approach, but our modus operandi really is to convey the message.
And how do you align the message? How do you unify the message? Because 70 people, are they talking about 70 different things?
Right. Well, so the process starts almost like 3 months ahead of time.
Okay.
And the campaign or the specific initiative is agreed upon by the national team, and the national team then comes up with a slide deck.
Really?
To actually
okay.
Have a consistent message across the 70 chapters in the United States.
Wow.
And so each and every public affairs secretary is required to attend conference calls and webinars, and there's a process of training. Lots of training, lots of training that goes into this.
Okay.
And then eventually we arrive to the day, and all 70 of us, we ride a bus from Beth Rahman, and we arrive here early in the morning, like 8 o'clock.
Okay.
And there's specific binders that have that slide deck and full
very organized, very structured way of approaching this.
Yes.
And now, what's the response been from the elected officials, their staff? What do they say?
It's received, it's got tremendous response. Many of them actually receive it very well because our message is generally a message of peace. So whatever campaigns we have, for example, this year we have the True Islam launch campaign. And the message of peace is being delivered through that True Islam launch campaign, which really is...
And why share that on the Hill? Why do that here?
Because this is the crux of the leadership. Leadership, I mean, is the reflection of the people of a country. And so, we're approaching the leadership, and we're hoping that this message gets across to the entire country.
Now, you guys are the largest organized Muslim community in America and the world. How does leadership influence the messaging here? Is it all aligned? Does this come straight from the top, if you will?
It comes from His Holiness Hazrat Mirza Masroor Ahmad from England, and that message actually gets translated down to these binders that we give around to all these congressional leaders. Approximately 70 people showed up here in Capitol Hill today.
So there's 70 meetings?
More than 70
meetings
were
they meet
set
multiple
up.
people?
Yeah, multiple people.
Okay.
So for example, I'm from Detroit, Public Affairs Secretary. He set up 8 meetings
wow.
from one Jamaat.
So there's over 100 meetings happening.
Over 100 meetings happening at some point, yeah.
Okay.
So we still have to collect the data. The data's coming up.
Okay.
And once we are done with the day, we'll know exactly how many meetings we attended.
That's great.
And so our objective really out of this is to convey the message of True Islam and Ahmadiyya to the leadership.
Great. Well, congratulations. Seems like a very successful event. Seems like a very structured and organized event. You're not shooting from the hip. Congratulations for all that you're doing.
Well, thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being on.
Absolutely.
And so we've introduced perhaps who the community is and what we believe in the past. Are we here in reaction to San Bernardino? Are we then in a bit of a defensive, or did we have an offensive sort of much positive message that we wanted to share this year? Chris, did you have a positive message here, or were we in defense of some of the things that have been done in the name of Islam?
I think we obviously we're going to face both. So when something happens, there is a natural tendency, I think most of us would agree, there is a natural tendency to immediately have to defend. So I think that the message that, for me, the beautiful thing about Ahmadiyyat is that the message that we're bringing in defense is the same thing we would bring even if it was just a normal day. And so we're not doing anything different. We're not doing anything new. We're simply saying this is what we've believed in since the very beginning.
So the truth will set you free. The truth is an antidote to what's happened.
But also he brings up a good point about defense, because if you looked at our Super Bowl this year, the defense won.
That is true.
And most instances, we think that to be on the defensive is negative. We have a duty, members of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community, to defend Islam. Our founder, Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad of Qadian, this is why he was raised in this time, to defend. And we find ourselves faced with an incident that was as serious since 9/11. And so we came to defend, we came to be proactive, and again, back to that crude analogy of working both sides of the street, saying, leaders, here is true Islam, and here we want you to know that in our communities, we are inviting Muslims who are not members of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community. We're inviting the general public, your constituents, your peers here in this great beacon of democracy. We're inviting them to take this True Islam challenge.
Why did we need 11 points, and what was the purpose of sort of having these 11 points in your conversations today?
Those 11 points are very, very important. One of the first and foremost is that these 11 points, and sometimes they kind of blend into others as well. But these 11 points essentially are usually those points that ISIS and other groups and other very extremist individuals,
Al-Qaeda,
et cetera, that these particular individuals have taken Islam and hijacked it. They have corrupted it, they have counterfeited it, and essentially they have taken something that is beautiful and pristine and turned it into something else.
Welcome to Open Forum. We have Irfan Al-Adin, who is the Public Affairs Secretary for the Long Island chapter of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community. Irfan, welcome to the show.
Let's talk about.
So what are you doing here? Why are you here from all the way from Long Island, New York?
Oh, I'm visiting here to meet the congressmen and women in our great country to explain to them about www.trueislam.com.
Were you able to meet with any of your elected officials from your district?
3 of them. I was able to meet 3 congressmen.
So which ones were you able to meet with?
Congressman Peter King, Congressman Kathleen Rice, and Congressman Steve Israel.
Okay, well, let's start with Congressman Peter King. I mean, he's a little controversial. From what I understand, he doesn't like Muslims.
That's what people say, but you know, he said today that when he wrote in the article, he spoke out against what Trump said against Muslims.
Trump is Donald Trump?
Donald Trump. When Donald Trump made those remarks against Muslims, he said that you cannot paint an entire faith with one brush. It's true, there are some extremists from within, but you can't paint the whole religion. He said that after making that comment on his Facebook, there are 90% negative comments.
Is Congressman Peter King a friend of the community? I've heard he's been to your house. I mean, it looks like we have good relationship with our congressional elected officials.
Almost 3 hours. He had lunch with us, dinner. He had a great dinner with us and sat with us.
So he understands what the Ahmadiyya Muslim community is. Have you shared the purpose, what the Ahmadiyya Muslim community is, and what you intend to achieve?
We did indeed, and he was very pleased about the trueislam.com because he said the Muslims have to police themselves. They have to internally regulate and remove these terrorists and expose them. And to expose them, he feels that this website could be beneficial.
That is amazing. Okay, so you met with him, and then you met with, who else did you meet with?
Kathleen Rice.
How did that meeting go?
Oh, it was an excellent meeting. She was so supportive of the trueislam.com website.
And where's she from, by the way?
She is from Nassau County.
Nassau County is where in the world?
In Nassau County in Long Island is basically the county that's just outside of New York City, just east of New York City.
I see. And what did she think about your visit?
She was very pleased that we came, and she was very pleased to hear about the website and how this can root out terrorism.
And then the third person you met with?
Steve Israel.
And he's a congressman as well? Where is he from?
He is from the North Shore of Suffolk County, a little farther from New York City.
So, Irfan, tell me, why did you give up your entire day to come over here? Elected officials, I mean, can they help in the cause, in your cause of the True Islam campaign or the Ahmadiyya Muslim community?
Absolutely. When they go to their constituents and say, you need to get to this website and answer those 11 questions, that will expose what is true Islam versus the falsehood we see today.
Great. What do you intend to take home from here today? What did you learn?
I learned that we have to meet our congressmen and women, and we have to ourselves get involved in politics. And that is a big step towards meeting them.
Well, thank you for being on the show.
Thank you.
Ted Poe and I are truly privileged to share the co-chairmanship of the Ahmadiyya Muslim Caucus in Congress. And I am personally truly grateful to each and every one of you for being here today, for taking the message of True Islam to all the members of Congress, for sharing your values with each and every one of us. Your campaign of True Islam is truly a gift to all of us, because we need to rid this country of the ignorance that is being sown by ISIS and so many other groups, and frankly, even some politicians. And your speaking up today and every day is going to make a huge difference in educating Americans and educating the world. You are devout Muslims, and you are devout Americans, and for that we are very grateful.
I am Ted Poe from the state of Texas. It's quite the honor to be here today, and it is quite an honor to be the co-chair of this caucus along with my friend from California, Jackie. As an observer of the Ahmadiyya community, it seems to me it's a perfect example for what Muslims can do to counter the violent propaganda advocated by groups such as ISIS. And as my friend Jackie has said, you have courage to do that. That is a good thing, to have courage. That is a unique trait of the Ahmadiyya community. Not only courage to speak out against ISIS, but also to stand for your beliefs. Because you face kind of a multifaceted conflict. Not only the fight against ISIS and the fight to describe true Islam, but you have the fight for your own existence and the persecution that occurs to the Ahmadiyya community throughout the world.
You came all the way from Miami to visit Washington, D.C., halls of Congress. What do you intend to achieve today?
So it's a part of Public Affairs Department's annual seminar that happens every year. This is Day on the Hill event, so it has been done for the past 5-6 years now, routinely.
But you want to meet with elected officials?
And the purpose is to meet with the congressmen and women from our constituencies where we belong to. So for example, we had 9 meetings set up with the congressmen and women from South Florida. We had very productive meetings, and we introduced to them the True Islam campaign that is being launched.
And Mansoor, you joined your husband in this campaign?
Yes, we do. Actually, I work as a media coordinator for my local Jamaat, and this was a wonderful opportunity for me to come, and we brought our children, and so that they see how the government works and how we can be part of that conversation that's happening in the national media. There's lots of misconceptions about Islam, and especially when it comes to women issues. We hear that extremists, how they are distorting the teachings of Islam, and
so they were welcoming you. You're wearing the hijab. You visited 9 offices. They were welcoming of your hijab, and, at least these elected officials, because there's some question around that. There's some Republican officials that haven't been so welcoming to Muslims.
Actually, our experience has been very positive, overwhelmingly, and all the staff members and the congressmen we met, they were very appreciative of the fact that we came all the way from Florida to meet them and to show them what the true message of Islam is.
I want to thank the other members for being here, and Judge Poe and Congresswoman Spear for their advocacy with your group and organization. And I want to fully subscribe to what you are here to do. The True Islam campaign, pushing back against hateful rhetoric, I think is clearly important in this day and in this time. But my brief comments, I wanted to just say thank you. As Amjad mentioned, I represent San Bernardino. I grew up in San Bernardino, just down the street from where the attacks occurred. And to see our communities come together as one after the tragedy was something that made me feel so proud of the region in which I come from. I want to thank you not only for the blood drive that you continue to do each and every year that I participated in this year, but for opening up your mosque and to engage in the conversation about what true Islam is at a local level, to be honest and open, to open up your doors to people of all religions, to talk with them, to reassure them. It meant so much to me, and it meant so much to the community in San Bernardino.
Our next speaker is Brian Bachman. He's the director of the Office of International Religious Freedom at the U.S. State Department. He's a dear friend of our community. He spoke at our annual convention last year, and he works on issues affecting our community and beyond. We're really delighted that he took time out from his schedule today to be here. We invite Brian to share his remarks.
Thank you, Amjad. First, I'd like to bring the greetings of Ambassador Saperstein, who wishes he could be here with you today, but he wishes to assure you that he keeps the struggles of your community against persecution throughout the world close to his heart, and he engages throughout the world with the Ahmadi community and with governments where the Ahmadis live to bring that persecution to an end. This campaign, True Islam, is vitally important. It's important to us because it is not something as the U.S. government that we can do. Certainly is not something that we can do well. It is not for the U.S. government to say what is true Islam and what is not, what makes a good Muslim and what is not. But we definitely want that debate to be happening within the Muslim community. We don't have the credibility to state that. You do. And we rely upon you to make that case, to make the case that, for why you can be a Muslim and be for peace, why you can be a Muslim and be for justice, why you can be a Muslim and be an American. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Brian. Well, that concludes the formal portion of this program. We're very honored to have so many of you who've come this morning from so many different faith communities, NGOs, think tanks, many people in the religious freedom space, congressional staffers from so many offices, people who have been real friends of our community. We invite you to stay and engage with our volunteers who've come from all over the state. We hope you will support our campaign and support our efforts. Thank you very much for coming.